What's up, East Street Youth? Welcome to Sunday Night Live. It's me, your boy, Rush Beam. Super excited that you are here with us tonight. Wherever you are, however you find yourself, Sunday night with your fam, in your bedroom on your cell phone, however you're watching Youth Group, we're excited you're here. We're like apart, but together in this crazy way. However you found yourself here, friends, we're pumped that you are. We got a great talk by Haley tonight. We got some fun. We got some worship. We got all sorts of stuff. Friends, remember, nobody, even in this crazy, wacky, weird, wild, technological way, belongs here more than you.
Hey friends, if we have never met, my name is Haley Foscue and I am on staff with East Street as the middle school lead. Right now, before we get started, before we get down into the nitty-gritty of things, I wanted to take a moment and pray for us. So if you will, please go ahead and bow your heads with me. Good and great God, thank you so much for this beautiful weather that we've had for this past week. I know that it is something that I needed so badly. Lord, I also want to take a moment to thank you for each person that is watching this video tonight or in 2 weeks from now or whenever they find us. Thank you for them. And Lord, I pray that you open our ears, our hearts, and our minds for the message that you have for each and every one of us. Lord, it's in your name that I pray, amen.
So, when you don't know how to do something, how to fix something, or how something works, What do? Ask a teacher? Ask your parents? Ask your friends? Ask someone you really know and trust? No, you go to the internet and ask some randos. But I'm not talking about creeps here, I hope. No, I mean the people of the internet! You know, those people who make how-to videos. Because chances are, if you're trying to figure out something, someone on the internet has already figured it out for you. Things like, how do I unsend a text? No. How do I do a winged eyeliner? How do I get rid of the zit by Friday night? How do I get out of gym class? How do I screen cap Snapchat without getting caught? They'll never know. But then there are things in life that don't have an easy fix, that don't have a simple solution, that don't have a how-to video. Things like what to do when you have problems with family, or when it seems like you have no control in your life, or what to do when someone has done something to you. I mean, clearly, they gotta go. The truth is, there's a lot of life that doesn't have a solution you can just find online. So how do you know what to do when you don't know what to do?
When I was in high school, the thing to do after every football game was to go to the cookout in Huntersville and get a milkshake, or maybe like a late night snack. Now, before I go on, there are two things that I need you to know. The first is that this wasn't just the case for my small high school of 2,000 people. No, it was the case for every public school in the area. And the second thing that I need you to know is at the time, this particular cookout was the only cookout in a 15-mile radius in any direction. So if you will, just imagine with me the absolute chaos that descended upon this cookout at 9:30 every Friday night. I mean, I knew people that would leave football games early just so they could get a good parking spot and a good seat at cookout. Well, there was one particular night, my sophomore year, that the high school that I went to, Huff High, played our rival team, Lake Norman from Mooresville. It was a close game, but I couldn't tell you who won. I couldn't even tell you what the score was. But what I do remember from that night is that my kind and gentle friend Jake bought me a milkshake because I had left my wallet at home. Now, Jake had already gone through the mile-long line, the line that was wrapped around the building 3 times. But he overheard me talking to the friends that I went to the game with and say something to the effect of, "Oh, I'm not gonna get anything. I didn't drive and I'm a dodo and left my wallet at home." But Jake left his friends and just let them fend for themselves while he hopped back in line to chat with me and catch up because I hadn't seen him since Wednesday. So he was chatting with us. My cluster of friends and I got close to the register, so I stepped off to the side to let them order, and then when they were finished, Jake stepped up and ordered my favorite milkshake, paid for it, picked it up, and handed it to me and told me not to worry about it, not to worry about paying him back. That was so kind of him, and I mean, obviously to this day, I still remember it. But outside of that, outside of paying back money that we owe, the idea of payback also comes up when someone hurts our feelings or hurts us. For example, when someone talks about us behind our back, we want payback. Or when we don't get invited to that group outing, we want payback. Or when your sibling borrows your favorite shirt and gets a stain on it, you want payback. And in those moments when we've been hurt, we want revenge. Now, maybe it's not that dark and twisty Oscar-winning movie or that chart-topping song about what happened type of revenge, but we've all tried to get payback in one way or another. We want the person that hurt us to feel the same pain that we feel. We want them to be embarrassed the same way we were embarrassed. And our first instinct often is to get even or at least get something in return. And isn't it true that the closer we are to a person, the more we want to get even, the more we want to get that payback? I mean, most of us aren't trying to get payback on someone else's sister for ruining that other person's shirt. And we probably aren't getting angry about what someone else's ex did, and our feelings probably aren't hurt because of what someone else's best friend 3 cities over did, right? The people who are closest to you and me are the people that have the most potential to hurt us. They're the people that are most likely on our list of people we owe payback. And payback can come in many different forms, many different ways, but sometimes what feels like the most satisfying form of payback is watching them fail all on their own. And in those moments, it kind of feels like justice, doesn't it? It feels good to see when someone gets what's coming for them, whether it's good or bad. And that's exactly the sort of situation Joseph found himself in as we wrap up his story. Over the past 4 weeks, we've been in a series called What to Do When You Don't Know What to Do. And we've been journeying through the life of Joseph. And his story can be found in Genesis, and this is a wild story, y'all. And Joseph often found himself not knowing what to do next. Just to recap, in this series, we've covered Joseph's family, and specifically we covered how he was the favorite son and his brothers hated him for it and sold him into slavery because of it. Okay, seems like a little bit of an overreaction, but I'll let it slide. Then we covered Joseph as a slave in Egypt, Joseph as a slave in prison in Egypt, and Joseph as the man who interpreted the dreams of Pharaoh, who was the ruler of Egypt. Joseph was eventually put in charge of all of Egypt, second in command to Pharaoh. No big deal. But definitely not a shabby outcome for a kid who was sold into slavery by his brothers. But surprise, surprise, there's yet another plot twist. After being placed as second in command, there was a food shortage where his family lived. So Joseph's dad, Jacob, remember him, sent the brothers to Egypt to ask for food because their country was out and they were starving. Now at this point, Joseph's family was positive that Joseph was dead, or at least very long gone. So of course, his brothers weren't even considering the possibility of seeing him when they got to Egypt. When they arrived in Egypt, they saw Joseph but had no idea that it was him. Huge drama unfolded. You can read more about it in Genesis 42 through 50, but today we're picking up in Genesis 45. Then Joseph could no longer control himself before all his attendants. He cried out, "Have everyone leave my presence." So there was no one with Joseph when he made himself known to his brothers. And he wept so loudly that the Egyptians heard him, and Pharaoh's household heard about it. Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still living?" But his brothers were not able to answer him because they were terrified at his presence. Let's take a second and just imagine the tension and emotions of that moment. Joseph was face to face with the people who tried to kill him, his own brothers who sold him into slavery, the same people who were ironically asking him for help. What would you do? Because honestly, I don't know what I would do. As the story continues, Joseph asked his brothers to walk over and stand close to him. I can't imagine the terror that these guys felt. But then Joseph said this, "Come close to me." When they had done so, he said, "I am your brother Joseph, the one you sold into Egypt. And now do not be distressed and do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. For 2 years now, there's been a famine in the land, and for the next 5 years, there will be no plowing and reaping. But God sent me ahead of you to preserve for you a remnant on earth to save your lives by a great deliverance." Now, there's really only one reason that Joseph could have responded this way. He didn't try to get payback because he had already let go of the idea of revenge. He had already done the hard work of forgiveness. And how do we know that? Well, Joseph could look in the eyes of the people who hurt him the most in the world, his brothers, and care about how they were feeling. When Joseph said, "Do not be distressed and do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here," he was acknowledging the wrong that they did and his hurt without creating any more pain. Only someone who had forgiven the people who had hurt him could do this. Joseph chose forgiveness over payback, and we see that in that moment when he had the opportunity for revenge fall in his lap. Somewhere between being sold into slavery and being reunited with his brothers, Joseph did the hard work of giving his hurt to God and allowing God to be central in his healing. Now, Hear me when I say this. This isn't to say that we don't all need some helps forgiving the people that have hurt us sometimes. God works through other people, so don't be afraid, be brave, and ask for help. But this is why Joseph was quick to acknowledge God in the area where others had caused him pain. It didn't make what his brothers did okay. It didn't make Joseph's pain any less. It just took the hurt and pain from sinner's stage and put God there instead. And that made forgiveness possible. Forgiveness was not only for his brothers, but it was for Joseph too. It was freedom from his pain. Joseph goes on to tell his brothers to go get his dad and move their family to Egypt. The famine was going to continue, and without making this move, the family was going to suffer. And then this happened. And he kissed all his brothers and wept over them. Afterward, his brothers talked with him. That may be the only thing better than payback. Reconciliation. And this is where we see the impossible happen. When we reconcile, peace takes over. Because of forgiveness and reconciliation, we can have peace. And when it comes to people hurting us, we too have the opportunity to choose something better than payback. In fact, there's a simple way to remember it. When you don't know what to do, pursue peace instead of payback. When you pursue peace, you fight for the relationship. When you pursue peace, peace pursues you. But here's why this is complicated. What happened to Joseph isn't what happened to you. And it's not what's going to happen to you, right? Each of us have unique and complicated situations, and figuring out what to do and figuring out what it looks like to pursue peace isn't easy. And it's gonna look different for each of us. I mean, the way that I pursue peace isn't gonna look like the way you pursue peace or the way my mom pursues peace for that matter. But that's why community groups are so important. We wanna help you figure out what it looks like for you to pursue peace in your real life and with your friends and family. So today, as we head out, what I want you to do is I want you to think about what you have the power to do when it comes to pursuing peace. And ask yourself, what do you need to decide? Who do you need to forgive? What do you need to bring to God? God can do incredible things in your story that you may not even be able to imagine yet. So, when you don't know what to do, pursue peace instead of payback.
Hey all, my name's Mitchell Webb and I'm part of the SALT team here at E Street Youth. And I have some announcements for you guys. We have small groups this week. Some are tonight, but most are on Wednesday. We hope to see you there. Next week, we're having a special youth group all together on Zoom at 6:30 p.m. We're going to take an interactive trip through the Holy Week together. And if you've ever had questions on the meaning of Holy Week, this is the perfect time because we're going to have good, deep discussion. Last but not least, Discovery, my favorite thing, is here and registration is available. So make sure you watch the instructional video and register your group. Thank you for being here. No one belongs here more than you.
What's up, E Street Youth? Rush Beam here. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are really, really excited that you are here with us. We can't wait to see you next week. Remember, next week, Sunday Night Live, we got a special Zoom youth group. Be there. Super excited about it. Friends, all during Lent, we have been challenging you with these cards that we are turning our normal everyday things into challenges during Lent to sort of recenter ourselves with things we are already doing and sort of redeeming them for good in our lives. Last week, not to throw shade, but Haley did the wrong card. She was a week ahead. And so I'm going to do this previous week's because I don't want to double up and all that. Last week, that's right, we focused on our breathing. I'm really excited about this. This card has a breath prayer for us. As we inhale, we say, God, grant me peace. And as we exhale, that I might carry your peace into the world. Friends, this has been a great practice for me this past week, but above all else, I encourage you to go check out the YouTube channel for The Gathering. We linked it in our last newsletter because Henry Turlington had an interview with Greg Moore about breathing and his practice and how he's doing this. So if you want to be inspired and encouraged by one of your peers, go check it out. Friends, thanks for being with us. We love you. See you next time. Oh, hey, everybody. Hey, Donnelly. We made it longer. Just for you. It's what you always wanted.
We did it!
We did it! Bye!
Bye!